Welcome to Thursday Thoughts, your weekly dose of real, honest conversation on all things personal growth. These are the chats Lucy and I love having every week over on Instagram. They're unfiltered, unedited, and always rooted in practical tools and a dose of inspiration. Let's dive in. Is it working?
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi, babe.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Good, thank you.
Good,
I can't
good.
believe it's 11th of May. Amazing.
Oh my God, don't. I mean,
know.
2026 is basically over. It's
I
basically
know.
Christmas.
Pretty nuts. Anyway, right, Lucy, this morning, Monday Motivation, your idea. So do you want to start this morning?
Yes. So we are talking this morning about self-doubt. And I mean, I have to say, I kind of feel like self-doubt it's like a disease, isn't it? Because I think it's something that pretty much every single person on the planet suffers from to some degree or another. I know that I have been crippled with self-doubt for a lot of my life, and for a long, long time, it held me back. And I think it is the reason that so many of us don't do the things that we want to do. It's the reason we don't chase our dreams. It is just, it's got a lot. It's kind of it is the reason why we don't do many of the things that we want to do, because we have this niggling, or many of us, not all of us, but most of us, I think, have this niggling sense of self-doubt, like I'm not enough. Who am I to do this? I'm not worthy of doing this. Oh my God, how could I even think that this would be possible for me? All of these things. And I think it's really, really sad. It's such a shame, because it really does hold us back, I think, more than many of us realize. And ultimately, I have found in my kind of journey over the last sort of 5 or so years that self-doubt never actually leaves you, but you can get to a point where you do the fucking thing anyway, and you allow it to be there, and you acknowledge it, and you know it's there, but you don't allow the voice of doubt to be the thing that drives your decisions and your actions and the things that you do with your life. So it's really, I think, about learning to just accept that it will probably always be there. It might get less or whatever, but just not allow it to stop you. And I think the first thing to acknowledge and realize and kind of make this easier is when you just remember that we all suffer from it. And even the people who are like hugely successful, actors or whoever it is, successful business people, they have all suffered from self-doubt and probably continue to do so. And it's not that it's there, it's just that they hold it, but they don't allow it to keep them from moving forward. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we stop it from holding us back? And yeah, I mean, for my own part, as I said, it's something that really used to, I would say, cripple me for a lot of my life. Through my teens, my 20s, I was filled with self-doubt and insecurity and never felt like I was enough, and always felt like I was kind of less than everybody around me. And it can be a very, very convincing, very, very powerful voice. But when you realize that we all have that, it kind of makes it a little bit easier to deal with. But yeah, so those are my kind of initial thoughts.
Yeah, well, similarly, I have been exactly the same. I have been riddled with self-doubt my whole life. And it's been one of those things I just have always known it's there. It's that voice in your head. Can I do that? What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't do that? What will people say? All of that, and as you get older, it's like, oh, am I too old to do that? Should I wear, just appearance alone? Should I wear this? Should I wear that? I'm so envious of my daughter. She just knows. She can just put something on and I'll say, oh, you look nice. And she'll go, I know. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. Where does that come from? But, for me, that's never been the case. It's always been like, oh, should I do that? It's that indecision, that uncertainty about stuff. And you're right. I think, everybody, most people, I mean, I say that about my daughter, but there's other things that she has self-doubt about. But it's everybody suffers from some sort of self-doubt. And I think it's because we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. It's all the stories that we have. And I think, and I know that as human beings, what we crave and what we love is certainty. We feel safe when we know what's next. Our brains crave that predictability, that certainty of life, because that's how we've evolved. Because we've evolved to learn what is safe. When something's safe and we're not going to be eaten by a tiger, then we want to repeat that. So we crave that sort of certainty, that familiarity, that predictability. So the moment something is slightly out of that familiarity, it's a bit different, then of course we go into that slight kind of state of uncertainty and can I do that? Or a bit more tentative. So I think that's a good point to remember as well, is that this is how we wired for survival. To keep ourselves in a very sort of safe, predictable way. But, ultimately, that's also not how we learn and grow and move through life and experience new things and all the brilliant things that we have in life. So it's about, we've talked a lot about, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, but it really is, it's sort of it's that sort of exposure therapy almost, of like trying new things, titrating it in a way that we can cope with. And then each time that little bit of doubt will disappear, because it's like, oh, I can do that, or I can wear that, or I can achieve, do that. And we kind of, that's how we move forward. I think, it's just not allowing that self-doubt to paralyze us, which it can so often do, to just not taking any action whatsoever.
Yeah, totally. What does titrating mean?
Titrating means slowly, like taking things, really taking. So it's like one step, like very slowly. So when we do breath work, for example, if you were to do, rather than going into a full-on breath, stimulating breath practice straight away, which might send you into shock and trauma, you just take small steps, gently, and then so yeah.
Ah, thank you. One thing that I think is the way that, if we're thinking about how do you sort of overcome self-doubt and stop allowing it to hold you back, or two things. Number one, I think to myself often, I am 1 in 8 billion people on the planet. And I'm here for to be the fullest version of myself. So that's the first thing. It's like, we are all different. We are all unique. And we're all here to kind of share ourselves and share our authentic selves with the world. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, like, I've definitely said this in here before, but I find it really helpful to remember that we're all going to be fucking dead in a matter of years. I find that really, really, really helpful. Because if you're if you're feeling bad about something, or you're kind of worrying about something, or you're feeling doubting about something, or let's say that self-doubt is holding you back from taking a step forward with whatever it may be. If you actually say to yourself, this doesn't matter, because we're all going to be dead. We're literally all going to be dead. In 100 years' time, none of us are going to still be here. Well, maybe some of the babies that have just been born, if they live to 100. But it sounds ridiculous, but it's actually such a good way of kind of putting it into perspective. And when you're able to kind of helicopter up and think about it from that perspective, you just think, why am I allowing this to stop me? Because no one's going to care when I'm dead and buried. No one is going to care. And the things that we kind of allow to hold us back, like so often, I think self-doubt is often kind of tied in with the opinions of others and what we think other people are going to think about us. This is just like such a fucking thing that we all have. I certainly do. And it's something that I've really had to work on a lot. And I know you have too. Both of us have. But when you really just boil it down to, well, none of us are going to be here. So why am I allowing what those people or that person may think, why am I allowing that sense of doubt to stop me from trying to create the life that I truly want and trying to become the best and fullest version of me? It's actually insane. Like, we only get this one life. So I just think when you put it in perspective like that, and you realize that none of us are going to be here in the next 100 years, what, like, you know, what are we doing? Why are we not making the most of this one wild and precious life that we have? And I think, just starting from that place can make you feel a bit like, yeah, you know what? Actually, fuck it. Why am I allowing this doubt to hold me back? I'm just going to do the goddamn thing.
It's crazy, isn't it? It is.
Yeah,
And it is that fear. It is that fear of what other people think. And it's just so annoying because you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we so fussed about what people think? And I do think as you get older, you kind of care less, but it's still there. It's still sort of always lurking in the background. And it does take an awful lot just to go, fuck it. But when you do say fuck it and you actually just do it, whatever, actually often it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. Why didn't I do that thing before? And if there is something that you do and it is a real cringe and it does make your skin curl afterwards, then fuck it. You've just got to let that go. Who cares? Nobody's going to remember it. It's only, we're all so obsessed with ourselves, and actually most people don't really care much at all. And obviously unless you're going to offend or upset or hurt somebody, but you're probably not. So I'm saying this to myself because I am also really riddled with this, and it's really frustrating because you just want it to disappear. You don't want, imagine if you didn't care at all what anybody thought about you and there was none of that there in place. What would you do? What would that allow you to do? And that is how we've got to constantly remind ourselves of how we should show up and be, just by forgetting and not putting this sort of, it's almost like we're just constantly putting these limitations on ourselves. There was something else I was going to say then, actually, which has completely gone out of my head. Self-doubt. Oh God. Anyway,
shall I say what I was going to say, and then it'll come back to you? Because I'm sure it'll come back to you in a second. It always happens like that, doesn't it? One thing that I wanted to add is that when it comes to self-doubt, I think we, and particularly women, and I think probably you and I have got largely female followers and listeners, but largely women, we so often think, or so often we don't realize what we're capable of, and we play small, and we assume that we are not worthy of doing the thing that we want to do. And I think what we have to really realize, and this is something that I've realized over the last few years, is that I'm so much more capable than I ever believed that I was. And I think we all are. Like, we are all so much more capable and so much more powerful than we've been led to believe. And I don't think we are educated in a way that makes us truly believe that we can do anything. I don't think that is what we get taught at school. I don't think we all leave school going, I can do anything. I just don't think we do. Or if we, those of us that do are bloody lucky. But I certainly didn't feel like that when I first sort of stepped out into the world after school and then after university. But we must understand that we really truly are more capable than we realize. And we really truly do have more agency over our lives than perhaps we realize. And as you and I talk about ad fucking nauseam, the way that we are talking to ourselves and the way that we are thinking is impacting the things that we do or we don't do with our lives. So, look at the way that what stories are you telling yourself? Like, what doubtful stories are you telling yourself about yourself, and how can you change them? Because ultimately, you do or do not take action on something based on the way that you're thinking. Because if you're telling yourself, I can't do this, I'm never going to do this, it's too scary, I'm not capable of doing this, then of course you're not going to do it. And it's really important. We've talked on here before about how the words we speak to ourselves, to others, are incredibly important. And I think when it comes to self-doubt, that's really, really key. We have to look at what are we saying to ourselves on a daily basis that is reinforcing this idea, reinforcing this doubt inside of ourselves. And we have to look to try and change that and change the way that we're thinking about what we're capable of. Because again, we're powerful beings. We're just not trained. We're not conditioned to think that we're powerful beings. We're almost conditioned to think that we're kind of victims of life. We're victims of our circumstances. We don't realize the power that we do have, and it's ultimately a choice. It's making a choice. It's making a decision to start showing up in the world with that confidence and with that knowing that actually we're so much more capable than we think we are, you know. And we've just.
And
did you remember what you were going to say?
No, I didn't. I didn't, but I thought of something else I was going to say. Because just talking about confidence, because obviously the opposite of self-doubt, I think probably most people would say, is to have confidence.
Yeah.
But in order to have confidence, you need to do the thing. You don't just get confidence. You get confidence by proof that you can do something. It's almost like I always think it's more like a verb than a noun, confidence. To confidence, you need. The more you do something which empowers you, which shows you that you can do it, gives you that little bit more confidence and a little bit less self-doubt.
Yeah.
And then if you repeat that, then you'll get more confidence. But you can't, it's sort of you have to move, you have to take the step first. You've got to have that little bit of courage first, take the step first, and then you can look back and you go, oh my goodness, I did the thing I didn't think I could do. That's a little bit of confidence. You need a bit more courage then, you take another step. You look back, you've got a little bit more confidence because you can see each time that you're able to do it. And each time, your self-doubt gets a little bit quieter. And for me, that is really how we overcome, I think, the self-doubt is just it's about moving forward, taking the step, feeling that discomfort, and also reminding yourself, bloody hell, everybody's feeling this, but I'm not gonna. You can't overcome it by just freezing and being stagnant and not doing anything, because then that's when our world just remains really small, and you're going to be riddled constantly with that self-doubt. And it's. I do think also. Oh, this is what I was going to say. It's about trusting yourself. It's about tuning in. So I just interviewed my good friend Carly for a podcast, which is coming out tomorrow. Carly had breast cancer. She got diagnosed a couple of years ago, and it was. I mean, she has just been absolutely amazing. But why I bring her up is that she has got such a strong sense of intuition. So much so that she decided to not go down the route of which she was being advised to by the doctor. She chose an alternative route for her breast cancer treatment, which actually proved to be for her the correct route. But what was so fascinating about that conversation was her deep sense of intuition, of knowing herself, of being able to trust herself and her decision, which went against everybody else's advice. And I just wonder, if we can all of us can tune in a little bit more to our own intuition and find that, listen to ourselves a little bit more and find that sense of deep trust, then this self-doubt is going to really ease off. And it's obviously a practice, I do believe, trying to listen to that intuition. But I think, again, it's going to come back down to getting a little bit stiller, getting a bit more peaceful, trying to tune out of the busyness of the world so that we can understand ourselves a little bit better. Because I think we have a deeper knowing and understanding of our own self. Then we're going to be able to know what feels good for us. And then we're able to tune out more of what other people might say, because actually you know yourself so much more.
I will only ever recommend brands that I know, love and use myself. And one of those is Ancient and Brave. Honestly, they've become part of my daily habits. The very first thing I do every morning is pour myself a big glass of water with their True Hydration in it. It feels like such a simple ritual, but it really sets me up for the day. And I know I'm properly rehydrating with their blend of electrolytes and minerals, especially before I exercise, which I always do in the morning. Then later on, when I make my coffee, I stir in their True Collagen powder into the coffee. Now, it blends in straight away, no fuss, there's no taste, and collagen is something we naturally lose as we age, but it's so important for our skin, joints, and overall vitality. Now, I'll be honest, Ancient and Brave may cost a little more than some of the tubs you'll spot on supermarket shelves, but the difference is you're getting the highest quality ingredients, sourced with integrity and tested to a higher standard, and absolutely no nasties added. That's why I trust them and why I think they're worth every penny. And because I want you to be able to try them out for yourself, I've got a special offer for you. As a listener of this podcast, you can get 20% off your very first order. All you need to do is click the link in the show notes and pop in the code POLLYW20 at checkout. They've got more than just collagen and hydration too. They've got creatine, they've got blends, supplements. So it's a perfect chance to explore their range and make the most of that 20% off.
Yeah, so true. And I mean, that's such a good point because, you know, I think so many of us, let's just say, when it comes to self-doubt, let's just say you're in a job that you hate, it's not making you happy. You want to make this move. You kind of know the area that you want to get into, but you're full of self-doubt. You're like, oh God, what if it doesn't work? And what if I leave my job and then I'm fucked and da 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 da. And what often happens is when you start vocalizing your thoughts to family and friends, what often happens is that they will reinforce the doubts.
Exactly.
And it can be really, really, really hard not to listen to the noise around you. It can be really hard to not let other people's opinions make your decision. And I always think of it as I literally feel like I put these sort of metaphorical blinkers on and just go la 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 la, and just like I tune it out. Because if you start allowing the opinions of other people who are not you and who will never know you the way that you know you, if you allow those opinions to influence the decisions that you make and the actions that you take, then that is really not ideal. And like you say, we have to learn to tune out the noise and tune into our inner knowing. And I think part of it, when it comes to self-doubt, I think we doubt our own intuition, and we don't always have that self-trust. We don't always, we doubt our own mind. We doubt our own intuition. And when we feel like that, we're even more likely to allow other people's opinions to impact the decisions that we make. We're more likely to listen to people who are like, oh, well, I don't know about that. Well, that sounds a bit risky. Your current job, you have a pension and you have a and you're like, oh, yes. So,
and often we do know deep down what the thing is, the right answer for what is right for us. I think we do all know that, as you say, you can write a list of pros and cons of that decision, but actually if you really listen to yourself, to your gut, that gut feeling, you know the answer. But we don't, but we're not in tune with our bodies anymore. This is how we we survived, and by listening and tuning into that inner knowing. And I know, so much of what, so I really do use my gut often to make decisions. And, I've been laughed at a lot for going, oh, I'm just going to go on my feeling. But often those are the right decisions I've made. When I've tuned out of that and I've gone against it and I've listened to the advice of people who genuinely want to give good advice, and love me and want to help, then it's not the right decision. It's not my decision. Mm-hmm. You've got to go with what feels right for you. There's a comment there. So who's this from?
Health, Tunbridge Wells. This resonates with me. I'm ready to leave my corporate job and take the leap. This is the thing. I mean, oh God, do it. But seriously, like, how many of us stay in a situation that we know is not right for us? We know that we're not happy in, and we let that. And I think part of the reason we don't take the leap is because we doubt that we are capable of making it work if we take that leap. And you know, I think we just have to give ourselves a bit more credit that we are resourceful human beings, and we can, like, you know, I always think that in many ways, you know, you've got to kind of burn the fucking boats. You've got to, and I've said this before, like, when it comes to my business and what I'm doing with my life and you know, trying to grow a business and all the rest of it, work for myself, that I have no plan B. And I think in some ways, the best thing to do is to, like, it's like rip the Band-Aid off, because when you don't give yourself a plan B, you have to make it work. And what I have found is that when there is an urgency and you have to make it work, guess what? You fucking make it work. We're so scared of taking a risk. We're so scared of taking a leap because, oh, you know, what if I leave all the security and certainty behind me? What's going to happen? But actually, we're so much more resilient and resourceful than we give ourselves credit for. So I think, you know, I would, if Health Tunbridge Wells, if you are in a job that you know isn't right for you, you know, you've got to take the leap because you're never going to be ready. And if you wait until you're ready, you wait until you think you're prepared and you've got all your ducks in a row, it's never going to happen.
No.
And yes, that isn't to say that it's not scary, and that isn't to say that it's going to be easy, but this is your life. You know, this is your actual life. And if you feel in your heart, and God knows I've been there in jobs where I'm like, I fucking hate this. I hate it. My soul is crushed. What am I doing? But I stayed because I've been like, oh, but if I leave, oh God, you know, we have to just, yeah, we have to trust that we will work it out. And by burning the boats and not having a plan B, it's really incredible how when you have to make something work, you do. If you have to, you know what I mean? Like, I have definitely been in that situation where I have created enough urgency that I've just had to sort my shit out. You know what I mean? Like when I left the sort of corporate, and I literally became a barista in a coffee shop, and I started cleaning my sister's house because I had to pay the bills. And for a while, that's what I did. But I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? There was a time even during lockdown, where I was posting flyers through people's doors saying, hi, my name's Lucy. I used to work at the BBC and I could teach your child, you know, I had a music scholarship and I could teach your child music, or I could do this. I mean, I literally posted freaking flyers through people's doors because I'd made this crazy decision to leave my job. We'd just gone into lockdown, But because I had to, I made it work. And I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for being able to just be resourceful and find ways to make it work. We allow the doubts that we have to keep us stuck. And sometimes you've just got to go for it. You've just got to make the decision and take the leap and just trust that the universe is going to catch you and that things are going to work out, and that more than that, you're going to make it work. Because when you have to, you do, you know, we always manage to work things out.
Absolutely. I love this. Tunbridge Wells, can I have you as my mentor? Go, girl. Absolutely. Well, there you go. There's your talking to. And but it's all true, Lucy. It's all true. Everything you have said is absolutely 100% true. You don't know unless you try. And one of the biggest regrets of the dying is, you know, I wished I had done that and I hadn't stayed in that job. I wished I had done the thing which was in my heart. It's one of those.
The top regret for dying is I wish I'd lived a life authentic to myself.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to be. What's the point of getting stuck into something that you genuinely don't love? And I know it's the scary. It's that obviously the financial security is the big doubt.
It's always that.
Can I replicate that financial security for myself? But, and you don't have to leap out. You know, you can do the side hustle. You can, try and make it work. You don't have to necessarily go completely cold turkey. That's what I did when I had my tuition business. You know, I kind of did both at the same time. But you will regret it if you don't try. You've got to give it a go. You've got to give it a go and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. I mean, you know, we can all, it's easy to say, harder to do, but it really, I genuinely hate it when I hear people hate their jobs and they're stuck in their jobs, because I just think life is too short. You've got to do something you love.
And also, just to add before we wrap up, like, if you think about it, yes, if you're going to take a big leap and you're going to leave a job because you know in your heart that it's not right for you and you're going to try something new, yes, of course it's going to be difficult. Of course it's going to be challenging. Of course it's going to feel uncomfortable. You just got to accept that it's going to feel uncomfortable. The end. It's always going to feel like that. However, I tell you what is even more uncomfortable than that is 5 years down the line, still being stuck in the thing that you fucking hate.
Yeah.
You know, so you choose your hard. Either you sort of take the easy option now and stay doing the thing that you know, that is easy, that is familiar, but knowing in your heart that it's not the right thing for you and actually long term it's going to make you miserable. Or you choose your hard and you take the leap and you go through maybe a few years of, yes, things are difficult and scary and uncertain, to then get to a place where you are so much happier. So choose your hard, you know?
Definitely. Well, there we go. Sort it all out on a Monday
Am I on
morning.
another rant this morning? I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I hope that has been helpful to anyone who's been listening. And thank you. Thank you both. Today is the day. Yes.
Oh, yes,
Today
absolutely.
is the day I start to make it happen. Hooray. Absolutely. You can do it. You can do it.
Exactly.
Amazing. All right. Thank you. Thanks, Lucy.
See you next week.
We'll be back next week talking about
lots of love, babe.
All right. Lots of love. Bye.
Lots of love. Bye.